Welcome back, everyone. My name is Stephanie. Today's video, I'm going to try to keep it short, but it's to help anyone with cystic fibrosis know how to travel easier, especially if you're traveling internationally. So I just got back from a trip and I want to share what I learned from traveling. So the first tip that I would share with you is make sure you get a carry-on luggage, something like this, and you do not have to pay extra. So you can put all of your medical supplies in the carry-on luggage, and the airlines will allow you to have an extra carry-on bag, which is so helpful because I had that whole suitcase full of my medicines and my medical devices, and it saves you money, and it also makes it safer because you'll have all of your medical items with you, so they won't get lost and you don't have to worry about those if you're traveling for a long trip, especially if it's international. So that's really helpful. In your bag, I recommend that you bring an extra week's worth of pills. Just pack extras because who knows if you get stuck somewhere and you might need extras, or if you end up getting sick, maybe you get COVID when you're there and then you need extra, an extra week's worth. It's really smart to bring an extra week's worth. One thing that I ran into that was really difficult, I actually went to Italy. I went to Europe for the first time and I had so much fun. We had a great time, but we had a really hard time finding distilled water there. So here in the US, you can find distilled water at the grocery store and it's usually like $1 or $2. Well, there you can't find it at the grocery store. We tried to go there and we were using Google Translate and talking to the people. You need to go to the pharmacy. So every neighborhood has a pharmacy and they will sell you the distilled water, but they sell it at the pharmacy there. So just make sure you find out where the pharmacy is and if it's close to your hotel or wherever you're staying. So that would help you a lot. One recommendation I have is, we were going to stay at a hotel and we ended up booking a VRBO, or like an Airbnb. And it was so wonderful because we ended up having twice as much room. We had a kitchen, a living room, and a bedroom. And I was able to make the living room like my medical station. So I could put my breathing machine and all of my equipment. And it was nice because my husband could sleep in the bedroom and I could close the door and then I could go make noise with all of my machines. And so it was cheaper than a hotel. So I do recommend that you get a VRBO or an Airbnb. Okay, so when you're there, you're obviously not going to have your Wabi sanitizing for all of your nebulizer pieces. And I know we all do that like daily with our sanitation, and it's very important to us to keep the germs down. So I recommend these microwave sterilized bags. You can get them on Amazon, and you put a little distilled water inside, and you just put it in the microwave. So as long as your hotel room or your VRBO has a microwave, you can sterilize all of your equipment, and it worked really well for me. So I definitely recommend those, and you can reuse the bags. So like this whole package is gonna work for me for a couple years worth of trips. So it's really wonderful to have. Okay, so I brought my regular nebulizer, and we had a converter, the thing that you adjust, the converter for the port for the electricity. And it did turn on when we got there, but it did not turn on properly for some reason. I don't know why. So I ended up having to buy this. It's a European nebulizer. And so it has this different port. So now I'll bring it if I ever, when I go back to places that have those ports. But I did have to buy this. I think it was like $30 or $50, 50 euros. So it wasn't that expensive, but it was unexpected cost. So just make sure that when you're packing your supplies that you know, you test out your nebulizer as soon as you get to your hotel, because I did that, thankfully. And then we were able to get me one within the first day. It was a little bit of a pain because we had to go to a couple different pharmacies. That's where you can get it there, a pharmacy. I didn't need a prescription or anything. They let me buy it. And luckily my mouthpieces fit with it. So it was like not that big of a deal. So I recommend that, also before you go on your trip, make sure you Google where the closest CF center, the closest cystic fibrosis center is, because if you do run into problems or you get an infection when you're there, you can easily go get the help that you need from the medical teams there. My doctors told me just go to the doctor, like if you get COVID or anything, he said just go to the doctors there, keep all the receipts, all the medical receipts of the money you spend, and then Kaiser is who I have for medical. They will reimburse me. I was surprised by that. So that was really important to know. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to the doctor there. I ended up being okay. But that's good to know. Because of COVID now, I also recommend that you bring some extra COVID tests and bring a thermometer, because if you start to feel sick there, you want to make sure that you can test and just make sure that you're still healthy. And then on the plane, of course, I mean, CFers have always worn masks, but I recommend that you definitely wear a mask. I double masked, so I wore 2 of these masks just to stay safe on the plane. I did have to take it off for like 5 minutes when I would eat or when I would drink, but 95% of the time I had a mask on, and I did not get COVID on the way there. Unfortunately, on the way home, I did get COVID, but I was just grateful that I got it when I was home in the comfort of my own house, and I've recovered mostly from it. So it wasn't too bad for me. Okay, another tip that I have is make sure you set your timer for when you need to take your pills because the time change and this long flight. So just I would say set your timer for every 12 hours on your phone. That way you won't get screwed up with when should you take your medicines. For me, it worked out okay because I just did my morning ones every time I had breakfast and my evening ones at night. So I probably maybe missed one on each way, but it worked out okay for me because I'm doing pretty well. I did not bring my vest. You can bring your vest, of course, your shaker vest, but it's so big and bulky and it would be a whole nother suitcase to bring. So thankfully for me, I was able to just do my airway clearance with the acapella and the aerobica. And you blow on these, it's the same thing as a vest, similar. And so that's an option. You could talk to your CF team and just see if you could bring these. They're so much smaller and easier to pack. And then, of course, people with CF, as you know, have a lot of digestion problems, and we depend on Miralax to help our digestion. And these are really great because they're just individual packets. So they're small, and then you just bring a little scissors. And every day, you can take one and you can put it in any drink, of course. It's better, it's less bulky than bringing a whole bottle. So I definitely recommend that. So I think that was everything I wanted to share with you. But most importantly is I wanted you to know that the bag is free to carry it on. That's great. And where you can find this, because it did stress me out because I go through like 2 bottles of distilled water a day. You go to the pharmacy if you're in Europe. So, and most of the pharmacists that I met, because I probably had to go to 5 different pharmacies during that week, they all spoke English, which was great. But I also had Google Translate. So I recommend you download Google Translate. A couple last things that I want to share with you before we go is I have this CF shirt on. I know I have it on backwards, but it says I am a fighter. And, we love these shirts as CF fighters. The BreatheCon event is coming up. It'll be February 9th and 10th in 2024. And I'm on the BreatheCon committee. So I invite all of you that have CF. It's open for all CF adults. It's going to be so much fun, February 9th and 10th. So right now there's artwork that you can vote for to vote for the swag. And then pretty soon in a couple months, you can register for the event. So I would love to see you all register for that and join us. And then I also just want to give a shout out to CFRI. They have really good events. If you're not familiar with CFRI, go to their website. They have really great fun events. Everyone is so nice in that group. So I love the CFF events and also CFRI. So I support both of those organizations. So I hope that this was helpful. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just sharing things that have helped me with CF. So I hope you all stay safe and healthy, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.